Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Danielle, and as you can tell from the title, today we're going to be talking about 5 basic essential items you're going to need to get started on your exclusively pumping journey. So I want to stress this one more time. This list is really going to be 5 very basic, bare minimum things that you need to get jump started. And the further along you get into your journey, as you begin to learn your body, your milk supply, what works for you and your lifestyle, you're definitely going to want to go ahead and tweak this list and for sure add things to the list over time. But for right now, this is just things to help you get started. I am not a lactation consultant. By no means am I a professional or an expert on the matter. I am a mom of 2. I have a 5-year-old daughter, Chloe, and a 3-month-old son, Emmanuel Jr., aka Junebug, that you'll probably hear in the background because I've been trying to record this video for the longest, and the only way I can do is to have him right next to me. So if you see a little foot or hand pop out, that is him. There it goes right there. For my 5-year-old daughter, I only had to exclusively pump for the first 2 months of her life, and then I was actually able to get her to latch. But then eventually I went back to work. So for the first year of her life, I was a combination of breastfeeding and breast pumping. For my son, I've basically been exclusively pumping for the duration of his life. So since he left the hospital, I've been pumping, so about 3 months now. Jump right into the list. So the very first thing that you probably already guessed, because by far the most important thing that you're going to need on an exclusively pumping journey, and that is a breast pump. Now the type of breast pump that you decide to use is going to be completely up to you. So whether that's an electric pump, a hand pump, one of those manual ones, or something like a Haka, you're going to decide what works for you. It could be a combination of a few of them. For me, I find that I get the best milk output when I do a combination of an electric pump and my Haka. Now, even if you don't think that an electric pump is going to be the sole pump that you use, or you're going to use it every single pumping session, I definitely recommend you looking into it, simply because exclusively pumping is such a time-consuming thing. It's going to take so much out of you. So anything that's going to add a little bit more convenience to your life is definitely worth getting. If you're worried about the cost of an electric pump, if you have insurance, please look into it, because most insurances will cover part, if not all, of your pump. You can call your insurance directly to see what they offer, or you can use one of those third-party websites. I use EdgePark. It was just one of the ones that I saw on one of my pregnancy apps. Video is not sponsored at all. Like I said, I was just scrolling in my pregnancy app. It's one of the ads that I saw, clicked on it, worked great. So what these third-party websites do is they basically take out most of the legwork and they do it for you. So there you go into the website, you insert your information, your insurance information. It'll populate a list of breast pumps that they know of that your insurance covers. You'll go ahead and pick one. It'll also show if you have to pay any out-of-pocket costs. I believe for most of them, you definitely have to pay for shipping. But as far as like the pump itself, it'll determine if it's 0, if it's 30. I think the most for my insurance was about like $30, if that, and it had a different variety. It had a Spectra brand, it had a Mandela brand, it had Free Me, Lancino, so it had a couple of options. You choose the one you want. They're going to be the ones who contact your insurance. They're also going to be the ones to contact your provider, because I do believe you need a prescription for it. So again, I definitely recommend that you look into going through your insurance for a pump. Again, even if you don't use it every single pumping session, you will find it handy eventually. While we're on the topic of breast pump, if you can get a new breast pump, definitely go through it. Again, look into insurance. But if you are gifted one of like secondhand, maybe your sister or some type of one of your family members are not using their pumps anymore and they give it to you, or you decided to look into like a Facebook, buying it from Facebook or Craigslist or any of those websites where you can buy things secondhand, I recommend you still get a new pump part. So even if you get it from someone that you trust, even though hygiene is definitely important to me, and I think you should get new pump parts just to make sure you're safe for you and your baby, another big part of that is that you want to make sure that you're getting the best suction possible. Now, even with your own pump, you definitely want to change parts every like 3 to 6 months, depending on your use. So you getting it secondhand, I for sure recommend you still get a new pump parts. So when you get your new pump, then it's going to come with all the tubing you need, the flanges, the bottle, the pump, and all of that good stuff. If you're getting it secondhand, definitely buy. An item that I believe that you're going to need is some type of boob or nipple lubricant. So I like to use the Boob Ease. So it's basically a nipple lubricant, and it'll help you when you're pumping. So you don't want to put like a dry nipple into a pumping thing, because that'll cause that cracking and that bleeding and stuff. I know with breastfeeding you get that cracking when the latch is kind of wrong, but you have that like coat in their saliva, you have that coat, whereas you don't really have that when you're pumping. So to avoid being in pain, definitely recommend that. So again, I use Boob Ease, but when I don't have that, coconut oil works just fine for me, and you can for sure find something that'll work for you. I wouldn't recommend using like the Lancino ointment. I know all of us probably have it on our registry or already purchased it, and it works great for what it's intended to, just protecting that nipple, to helping treat those cracked nipples, those bleeding nipples. But for a pumping lubricant, the ointment is a little bit too thick. It doesn't really make for a smooth pump. So again, that Boob Ease or any type of oil that you have. I like coconut oil. It doesn't affect me or my baby. I literally always have coconut oil on hand, so that's what I use. So definitely look into that. The third thing I recommend you looking into is some type of hands-free bra. So I can use my hands-free bra with my electric pump, but I also can use it if I decide to do haka on both sides, or when I'm doing a combination of like an electric pump on one boob and a haka on another boob. It just helps me feel more secure that that haka is not gonna fall off, because I can't tell you guys enough how many times it just slipped without me noticing, and I lost like 4 ounces of milk. So that, don't be like me. But when you're attached to the pump, you still want to be able to do other things. So for me, I'm a stay-at-home mom. My fiance is at work, so I do have to pump with my son right next to me. I'm not always able to pump while he's asleep, so I need to be able to lift him up when he needs comfort. So having my pump in place with that pump and bra, being able to turn around, lift him up, or put him on my lap and soothe him, or even feed him while I'm pumping, works wonders. To help my daughter with something, works wonders. So having a hands-free pump and bra is just gonna make your life easier, even if that's your only chance to like eat something, or you want to unwind and drink something or whatever. I'm talking about like a glass of wine that's safe. Don't go drinking Henny or anything like that. Anyway, a hands-free bra is definitely amazing to have. The fourth thing that you're gonna need is going to be something to store your milk in. So obviously you're gonna need some baby bottles, so you're able to feed your baby. What bottles you use, up to you. But you're gonna need that to do it. But you're also gonna need something, if you have excess milk, something to store it into the freezer. So I like the Lancino regular like breast milk bags. Any brand I'm sure works fine. Those are just the brand that I use with my daughter, and I just went ahead and purchased again with my son. So definitely look into some type of storage thing. Another thing I like to do is have some type of pitcher. So I use like one of those formula pitchers that have the things on the top. I'll insert a pitcher where you mix the formula up. It works great for breast milk as too, because when it's in the fridge, your fatty and the liquid, they tend to like separate, and just using that to mix it all back together is great. But I like to put my milk inside of that, and then I make my bottles at the end of the night to have it ready for the next day. I'll go over all of that in another video, but for number 4, you're gonna need something to store your milk in. The last thing, but certainly not least, that I definitely recommend you having is some type of pump log. So whether you're running, write it down into a book, the time you pump, how much you pump, how long you pump for, whether you are writing it in the notes on your phone or use the app. I like the app Pump Log because it's really, really easy to use, really straightforward that you can use. Or Pump and Work. It seems to be a little bit more sophisticated. I don't use that one as much, but I have used it and it works fine. But it's definitely going to be really, really important when you're building that milk supply up, when you're trying to maintain that milk supply, when you're trying to figure out when's the best time for pump, when you think you're ready to drop a pump, which pump you can start dropping off first, because maybe that's the pump you don't get as much milk. So definitely keeping track of that is definitely great. I also like, I think it's the Pump and Work one, where you can say what you fed your baby, and the Pump Log, you can say what milk you're stashing. I just love it all around to keep track of my milk outputs, how often I have to pump, if I need to add a pump over time because I'm noticing my milk supply is dropping, or again, my baby's sleeping overnight, so maybe I can drop a middle of the night pump. So it's really, really, really good to have to keep track of everything. So just a quick recap, you're going to need a pump, If you're buying getting the pump secondhand, definitely new parts with that pump. You're going to need some type of nipple lubricant lubricant to help make it a little bit more comfortable for you. Of course, making sure you're using the pump properly, your suction is properly, and you're paying attention to all of that. But that lubricant is going to help you out a lot. You're going to need a pump and bra just so you can be hands-free and you can feel like you're not a cow. Because I feel like when you're sitting there, you feel more like a cow than anything too, because you're literally hosing it and you're just stuck. And it's just going to make you a little bit more miserable because you're really not going to be able to move around. You're going to need something to store your milk in, so bags, a pitcher, bottles, if you're freezing, whatever it is, you're definitely going to need that. And number one, you want something that allows you to keep track of your pumping sessions and your pumping output. And that is the 5 essential things that you need. I am going to have a blog post on my website, mommysentiments.com, with more items, like just out of convenience. Like I personally like to wear nursing tops, or if you're pumping outside of the home, a cooler bag or something like that. But it'll definitely be a more in-depth list of a couple of more items that you need. Thank you so much for watching and tuning into my channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to send it more out into the YouTube world so it helps other mommies out there. And also, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I have tons of content in my brain that I want to get out for you, and I would love to build an amazing mommy community. I hope to see you guys soon. You have a wonderful day.